welcome to all of you once again. The question raised was the YouTube video which I sent, which gave one way of chanting Patanjali Yoga Sutras, is very different from what is taught in many classrooms, and you can see many varieties in the internet. My response is it's not meant for chanting. There are certain things that are called slokas, which are designed to be chanting. What do we mean by saying designed? Because any sloka which is meant for chanting will have a meter, a kind of flow, it will be there. There will be rules in how many words could be in a line and which part of the syllable you have to enhance, accent as they call, which part of the word you want to push down. These are all required because the expectation was the sound envelope of a particular way of chanting has its own power. Depending upon the frequency of various words, it will activate different parts of the chakras. That's the whole idea. So you will find in Vedas, for example, there is a very specific rule given how you have to chant. But sutras are not designed, they're text basically speak, process actually. Therefore, everybody is at liberty to pick the kind of a sing-song model which they like, which appeals to them. That's why you find it very different. You can pick up anything you like. It doesn't matter because the whole idea of a Yoga Sutra is to contemplate. Anyway, this is my short answer. Now I request Manjula to introduce herself, and then after that, both of you too, Viral and Mary, also introduce yourself. She knows me very well and she's trying to forget me, so therefore I'm not going to introduce me to her. So then after that, we'll continue. Please go ahead, Manjula.
Yeah, thank you, Paddy. I'm used to calling him Paddy, so I'll continue doing that. Yeah, and this is Manjula Venkat Krishnan, and I have been practicing yoga for more than 20 years, I would say. And lately, I have been into meditation. In between, I had done a lot of chakra meditation and other forms. So I'm totally interested in any form of yoga. It is not just the yogasana as such, but as Paddy was mentioning, any form of yoga. It could be in the form of lecture, it could be form of breathing, or any physical postures. I do show interest, and I did a small certification in meditation, guided meditation recently, and have been having few students and have been teaching them. Yeah, it is like the beginners. It's not that the students are yet ready to kind of listen to lectures or get into kind of serious yoga poses, but still they are all beginners. So that's where my interest is. Yeah, anything you say yoga or anything related to that, my eyes and ears are just open and I'm ready to accept the fact and learn a lot of things about that. And there are various things I'm still not aware of. So thank you for having me on this session. Looking forward to, yeah, all the nice sessions with you.
Thank you. Welcome. Mary, go. You can introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Mary, and I've been doing yoga for most of my life, I guess. What drew me first to it was the physical aspect of it, which I love the asana very much. But what touched me was the deeper philosophical part of it, and that's I discovered over the years after having done two teacher trainings over the years and also a 500-hour. I've discovered that truly is for me what draws me, and where I really want to be is in the study of self and self development, realization, and just having that experience and knowledge of who I am and why I'm here.
Thank you. Mira?
Hello. Very nice to meet you. Thank you so much for joining us, and I have a great respect for you for practicing 20 years. Wow. So, yes, my name is Miral, and I finished the 500 yoga teacher training with Mary. I did 2 times 200 yoga teacher training, and then this was the third one, the 500. And I like it very much. I like yoga very much, and my goal is kind of to perfecting the basics of yoga, meaning all the asana poses, because I really would like to teach people, and I like that a lot. Also, I like martial art a lot. I used to teach Tai Chi Chuan, um, in the libraries for, I would say, 5 years, for people who are very lazy and they never practice. So I figured out how to teach Tai Chi for people who don't want to practice. And I also practice Shaolin martial arts, Shaolin Kung Fu and Qigong, which is like a lot of breathing. And I like these physical things. And also, but I know that the goal is meditation. And I just hope that through my practice, I am very grateful for the Yoga Sutras. It's, for me, it's very important because it gave me hope that if I really just practice, I can get to a point when I can just sit, I can get to a point when I just can kind of sleep into meditation practice somehow. And that's it. So I'm not very much a philosophical person. Sorry. That's the truth. I like experience.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, nice meeting both of you.
Yep. Yeah. So, Manjula, do you want to say anything, or should I continue from
So
here?
you can continue, Paddy.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, we stopped last time with, if I remember, I tried to share it again and see whether it works. Are you able to see? Are you able to see?
Yes. Would you please
Yes.
able to make it a little bit larger?
Oh, this is the full screen I have done.
Oh, maybe.
Let me see. There is any other way I can make it bigger. Let's see. Okay, there's some other way I can.
Yes. Thank
Is
you
better?
very much. Yes, very nice.
Okay. So as you can see, we stopped at here. We want to talk today from 117 onwards. Having said that, the fundamental goal of yoga is to minimize, definitely, and if possible, almost sublimate the chitta vritti, the mental modifications which happen. That needs to be completely eliminated as much as possible. That is the objective of yoga. Though it looks very physical, of looking at various asanas, etc., but coupled with quite a few other portions, which is slowly we will develop. The whole idea is to minimize, definitely, and eliminate wherever possible the mental modifications. Then the question is, if we do that, what do we get? What kind of experience we get? There is a notion, there is a not a notion, there is a policy, I would say, a concept, I would say, in Indian Shastras, which goes to the extent of saying that nothing. I'm sorry. There is a principle in Indian way of thought process which states that any amount of text-based arguments can never repudiate, can never replace a direct experience. So a direct experience is very important. That's where I agree with all of you that we can build any number of theoretical models, metaphysical conversation, but what is the point until we are able to experience that? And in this particular case of Patanjali Yoga Sutra in particular, and Ashtanga Yoga in general, what is it which is assured as an experience which everybody will get? It is called the Samadhi Anubhava. Experiencing a Samadhi state of consciousness is what is assured. And why is it important? And what do we get out of this? When we experience a Samadhi Anubhava, the vrittis or the mental modifications of chitta will be completely eliminated, very much reduced and completely eliminated, which is the objective of the whole exercise. And therefore, the proof of the chitta vritti nirodha statement comes from the direct experience of the samadhi. Then what exactly is samadhi? They introduced this through 117 onwards. How to get that? What happens if you get that? And what is the end objective of our life? And why are we here is the question which Mary keeps asking. Hopefully some of these questions will be answered as we move forward. So let's go with one of you chant, or both of you, all of you can chant if you know, if you want to, 117, and then I'll try to explain. Please go ahead, please, 117.
I cannot chant.
Patty, did you say 113
117.
or 117?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
Mary.
Okay. Out loud with Mirel and with together?
I mean, who is ready to join? No, not necessarily anybody can sing, but who is
Yeah,
ready?
I'll be a listener for today.
Okay, great.
All right, Mirel, shall we?
Yes. We didn't learn this, did we? Or I forgot.
Let's see. Vitarka, Vichara, Ananda, Asmita Rupa, Anugamat, Samprajnata.
Exactly. What does it say? It says what happens in Samadhi's Anubhava, Samadhi's experience. Now, like we have different kinds of people, starting with different way, having different way of life. And like I mentioned multiple times, we are all here because of the momentum of the various past births, all the activities we have done, all the vasanas we have picked up. As a consequence of that momentum, we are here. Though our meeting point is same now in this Skype conference, we didn't start the same place. We don't know, honestly speaking, where did you start thousands of births back. What it means is the experience which we are going to get today may not be, most likely, not be identical. But that is not a problem, because everybody will go through it in some way or other. And what are those stages? Initially, what happens in deep meditation? I think all of us here have tried or have been trying and practicing meditation. So what I say, I suppose, will resonate with all of you. What happens to us during meditation process? In the beginning, we are completely aware of our surroundings. We know what's going on, all the noises, probably we are in homes, therefore there may be TV blaring there, somebody talking there in the neighborhood or in the same room, something, all kind of noises, etc. We'll continue to hear that. Then gradually, as we start focusing, continue the meditation, those external noises become dimmer and dimmer, in the sense that initial stages, they become feebler. Next stage, what happens is, though the external noises come down, our thoughts wander. Though we are trying to concentrate on a mantra or on a image of God, what we like, or we just follow thought. There are whatever techniques people teach in meditation, right? Whatever techniques we follow, the mind tends to wander. Therefore, there are multiple thoughts occur. Then over a period of time, those thoughts subside. And next stage, you would recognize very funny thing. You would recognize that there are thoughts, but you have disassociated yourself from the thoughts. In other words, the thoughts become the object of your meditation. In fact, in Buddhist technique is precisely that. You observe your thoughts. Therefore, there's another experience you get. And then over a period of time, even those things slowly disappear. And then only your self-awareness remains. What is the self-awareness? That means the only thing you really feel is about yourself, not the thoughts which go in the mind, not those external noises, whatever happens outside, etc. Nothing. You just stay there in mere self-awareness. At that point in time, it is possible your method involves an object, which could be a sound, which could be an image, it could be a mantra. You are aware only of that. You are aware of yourself and you are aware of that particular object of meditation. In fact, it's difficult to explain, but I'm sure all of you would understand what I'm trying to say. You're not going to recognize the object of your meditation as a different entity from yourself. It looks as though your awareness, self-awareness, the faculty or the instrument of awareness which you have itself has taken the shape of the object, right? That's the sense you get, and that moment, that kind of experience is called Samadhi. This is one type of Samadhi. Gross thoughts, fine thoughts, and simple awareness of individuality occurs. The beauty of this Samadhi experience is you feel as if a big fountain of bliss, joy has opened up inside you. And then the waves and waves and waves of joy and happiness and bliss gush through the fountain inside you. Suddenly you find as if you are made of that happiness. It's not that you are enjoying the happiness, you're made of that happiness. Your body is made of that happiness. Your mind is made of that happiness. Your intellect is made of your happiness. Your thoughts are made of your happiness. Whatever way you want to characterize what is going on in us during the meditation, that is happiness. It's not as if happiness is being seen by you, happiness is being enjoyed by you, observed by you. You are happiness. That is a sense you get, and that's what is explained in this 1.17. I would pause now and request three of you to share your experience. Have you had this kind of experience, even for a brief moment? And if you had it for a longer moment, you want to recall it and share it with us so that all of us can understand what is this Vitarka, Vichara, Ananda, Asmita, Rupa, Anugama. What is that? Anugamata. That is this. That needs to be correlated with our experience which we are having. So I request one by one to go and share some of your experience on this. Please go ahead. Mira, you can go on first if you want to. Yeah.
Yes, I used to experience, I used to hear my thoughts, I would say at least 10 years. And at the beginning, it was very hard because I didn't have a teacher at the time. And I thought first that I then just, I practiced this energy thing and energy practices. And I used to hear my thoughts back, first. It was a very interesting experience. First, it was like echoing, and then I could, precisely hear different kind of thoughts in my mind. First, I thought maybe I'm schizophrenic. I went mad. And then I recognized that that's not at all. these are just thoughts which comes from, I don't know from where, and then who knows, they go somewhere else. And through this process, I learned myself that the thoughts are totally meaningless. And there is one part of our brain which I guess it would be called like the subconscious, mixing up things, whatever happened during the day or whatever experience or judgment we have towards others, it will come back and it will mix everything up, but the mind can be so mind that it can make sense almost sometimes with all of this madness, all of these thoughts. So it was very difficult because it takes a lot of energy. So that's why I gained a lot of weight, because I replaced my energy with eating a lot. And and then I recognized that all of this is just nonsense. And I got to a point when I understood that just absolutely ignore the thoughts. My biggest issue is not about the thoughts, it's about the sensations. So I recognize that, all of these nice feelings, what you talk about, it's a real trap, because we follow these and we enjoy it. And also we can identify with it. So I kind of I wouldn't say 100%, but now when I'm thinking of something, I know that this is, I can see that from a different point of view. So I can see that it's really not very important. And this is just a mom in that moment, that kind of thought process, but it has nothing to do with reality sometimes. And but I don't know, and it's very difficult for me, and I don't know how to not follow the sensations. That's the real challenge for me. And now I find a technique for myself then by accident that when I was practicing, because all of this, I also recognized that I was breathing up for 12 years or so. So I was pushing up this energy into my head without me wanting to push this up. And I recognize that this is not good. This is just can be some kind of cleansing process, but the real yoga thing and the real yogi thing, it doesn't happen that way. That happens on its own. And I don't have to control anything. But I am not that advanced. So I reckon I worked out for myself a breathing technique to bring this out. I also recognized my throat. I was opening my throat and I couldn't close it. It took me one time a whole night to sit down, because these energies are very strong, and to able to focus and with my mind to close my throat here, something inside. I don't know how to explain. Because when this open, all of these thoughts and energies, they're going up and create this kind of, a lot of energy in the head. And I know that from Kung Fu and Tai Chi that this energy has to go down to the belly. So what I did is I worked out, and I would like to share this. Maybe this will help you too. I don't know. So this is the new breathing technique. I just inhale, totally relax in the chest. And on exhalation, I slightly tighten around the belly, my belly area. And again, I totally relax. Inhale, everything is relaxed. And on exhalation, very slightly, I just make it like, imagine with the mind like I close something. I make like a closing. And with this technique, very slowly, and now I put this into my yoga practice with forward bends and all of that. And no one teaches us, but I think this is what the books they do, or this, because when you tighten the belly slightly, the belly goes inward. So I started to retrain my practice and my mind to able to bring down all of these things from the head down to the belly. And it's very effective. It's really working. And now I put my energy down back to my belly instead of my head. So my head kind of cleared out, but I still cannot control, not to follow sensations, but at least I'm aware of this. So I am not very impressed with the joyful feelings. They are very tricky, Master Rao, because if something is, I had those joyful feelings inside and sometimes I'm getting these love attacks, and I feel like I want to hug everyone and a partner comes in and I just want to hug her and, all my customers and, but this is not good because I would have to control this. And I right now, I am aware, at least I got that far that I'm aware of it. And I'm not very impressed by these happy feelings.
Okay.
Personally, it doesn't mean that I want to be miserable.
I get.
I'm not impressed.
Okay. Here's the thing. A very excellent summary point. This is what comes to my mind when I hear you say that. You're very right. In as much we take the joy which comes of meditation as the end point, then we are trapped there. We get stuck there. That's the caution which you're giving. But let's not forget one thing. Our very nature is of joy. Therefore, it is not the problem of whether you feel the joy or not. That is not the problem. The problem is how do you view it? That is the problem. If you are going to see the joy as your very nature, the bliss as your very nature, it is absolutely no problem. That is self-awareness. On the other hand, if you see the same experience as, what, just like I enjoy eating a chocolate and ice cream, the same way I want to enjoy this, then there is a problem. That is why, if you recall, towards the end of my explanation of this sutra, I said that at one point in time, you will not see this joy as an object. You will not see as something which you're thinking about or feeling about. Rather, your self-awareness, your consciousness itself becomes joy. In which case, the whole notion of enjoyership, I enjoy something, goes away. The problem lies in the enjoyer mode. The problem is not in the enjoyment mode. There's a big difference between these two. That is what it is. Because yoga, or not only this Yoga Sutra, anything, any other text, sacred text, if they're going to propose that your end state is one which is completely without happiness or joy, why would anybody even try that? Not only that, it's not about trying. It defeats the very argument which is given in the beginning. Why are we doing what we are trying to do? We have no reason to be unhappy. The sorrow which we feel in day-to-day life is our own making. Because we define certain things as good, bad, ugly, acceptable, not acceptable, and start comparing our experience with that, we end up being unhappy. But all these definitions, a priori definitions, are all arbitrary. Right? Any value which you give to your customer, service provider, you say, I want to hug. That is your definition. You defined that you are X and the people who come to are Y, and therefore you want to hug. If that definition is taken away, you won't feel like hugging them. There's no need, because the need to hug somebody to express and share the joy goes away when you know that you are the infinite joy. What do I get out of any of those activities? So in fact, you said after last session, during the beginning of today's conversation, you said your inner voice was telling you, don't restrain yourself, right? This is one of the things you should do. Drop all notions of either taking this joy which comes of meditation as enjoyable or taking them as a hurdle. Both needs to be dropped. Take it as it comes. You meditate, the joy bubbles up, be aware that you are the joy without getting into any entrapment mode or despisement mode. Neither of them should be there. That's a very, very great explanation. You talked about pulling in the stomach and all that. I would probably talk about it much later because it goes it goes into various bandhas we do as a part of meditation, as a part of Hatha Yoga. And my experience has been that since I'm not a Hatha Yogi like most all of you are, I'm just, yeah, I use yoga as one of my tools. So I have not consciously tried anything. My observation has been that all the bandhas happen automatically. And the right meditation happens, stomach gets pulled by itself. You don't have to try to pull the stomach. You don't have to focus to transfer the energy from one point to another of the body. None of it necessary. It acts by itself. You just watch. But that's okay. Everybody approaches differently. But we'll come to it. Mary, your experience, please.
We can see you, Mary. Can you hear us? We cannot hear you.
No, yeah, we can.
No, I was trying to put my microphone on.
Okay, got it. Got it.
Okay. So a question always comes to me is when I know that how important and how useful meditation is, why do why don't I practice it more regularly? I went through a stage a few years ago where I was practicing it every day for an hour, every morning at 4 a.m. I decided I'm going to do that. And very amazing things I experienced during that time, which I thought I can never stop this. But then life continued and it pulled me away. And I know that sort of oscillation of back and forth. And I keep saying the inner is so important, it's the most important. But then life keeps taking me outside of myself. So that's something that I need to, study and balance. But when I do meditate, which I do, but not as regularly as I did in that year, that 2.5 that I was really disciplined about it. I like Miral, I started my meditation with just watching, observing, not changing anything, just watching and allowing the thoughts to be there because they were bombarding many thoughts, like Miral said, useless thoughts, just coming out of nowhere, going nowhere, and I just let them be, and I did not give them attention. So that was one thing that helped me, and I continue, and I observed the breath, I experienced the breath, and so I had experiences where there was one very significant experience when we go to Maine for the summer, and the house is a cabin, so there's lots of activity. And so it was in the morning, I was meditating, and a mouse came on my knee. Nothing. I sat there, I didn't move. It didn't even bother me. Like I was fine. It was like I had my attitude changed. That like it was not what I would, if I saw a mouse, I'd be, oh, quick, get the mouse out. I don't want to see a mouse in the house. So that was something. And then the other time, I think I told you that I began to experience like sunshine in my body. So that was also very, it's hard to talk about it because the experience, I can't talk about the actual experience because it was so powerful. Right. But I see that though, that I get closer and closer to something more true and more essential. That's, I get closer to that. It's more, instead of all the stuff, so much stuff I carry that I don't need, but I still carry it and I hang on to it. But there's a letting go of that. And that's what meditation has been bringing me. And I don't know, that's all I can say for now.
Oh, that's a fantastic summary. And I agree with you that in our long life, these things seem to have an independent life of themselves. You asked a very powerful question that when we are convinced that self-awareness as repository of all joy and bliss is the objective of human life, and if meditation helps us tap into that, why is it that we are not able to stick to the long meditation regime forever? The answer lies in the fact that the notion that you have to meditate to get a sense of that is just artificial, and like Meral was pointing out, treating that as the only way becomes a hurdle by itself. That's one of the reasons people say ignore, keep moving, as they say. Um, it's somewhere in a couple of sutras will come there. There seems to be a mysterious hand guiding each one of us in a different way. Yeah, it calls it the Ishvara principle. Um, Sometimes it makes us get so deeply involved in all these meditation and yoga related activities. And sometimes it seems to be working against you in the sense that Ishvara principle throws so much of life related problems. You cannot do yoga regularly. You cannot sit even for 1 minute. And you must be wondering what's wrong with it. I want to do it. I am trying to be disciplined. I'm trying to control my senses. I'm doing everything with Ishvara wants me to do. And he's the one putting all the hurdles on my path. Right? That confusion happens to us. We have to step back and recognize that there are two entities in us, as it were. One is an entity which is trying to break all these barriers and recognize our true nature and enjoy the bliss. And another entity is a consequence of all the past births we have taken at the momentum we are here. There are certain residual momentum which is still there, even though we are pursuing this. Until that residual momentum is completely exhausted, this will go on. But the most important thing to recognize here is that therefore we should not feel guilty about it. That oh my God, I am not worthy of it. Not at all. Like I explained last time, when you ride a bicycle, you pedal it. Even if you stop pedaling, the cycle moves on until the moment of inertia is zero. That doesn't mean that you are not trying, you are not achieved or anything. It has to go what it has to what it has to do. Therefore, I used the word last time, unburden yourself from all notions. If it is the will of Ishvara that in these few years, your entire time has to be consumed in quote unquote what we would like to call as a mundane activity of taking care of family and things like that, so be it. That's where God is. If you believe in God, doing God's bidding is the best thing you can do. Therefore, unburden yourself. That is one way of approaching it. Another way of approaching is all these techniques, yoga, meditation, analysis, thinking, all of us discussing, etc. These are all means. They are not the end destination. Once you got a hang of your true nature, holding on to that thought that this life is not the, what should we say, does not define me, really speaking. I do this role, but that does not define me. Therefore, I remember this. I will always have it in mind. Therefore, let this happen. Try, in which case, none of these are really required. You don't have to meditate. You don't have to do yoga. You don't do any of those things. You do it because you want to teach others. You want to share your success. You want to share your method. You want to encourage others. It may not be really necessary for you to do this, to tap into that self-awareness. That is another way of looking at it. Whatever it is, the most important thing is unburden ourselves with any mental blocks we create. That's what I would, and I'm very sure in a couple of sutras from now, when we go there, Patanjali will say, I'm not inventing anything. We'll hear him say that. Manjula, do you want to share your experience, please?
Yeah, just a few thought around what you all spoke. Uh, to me, I feel like we are on this earth for a purpose. So whatever we are doing, yeah, definitely I agree with you and others that we don't have to push ourselves and burden ourselves and saying I want to do this or I couldn't do this. That pressure, when we build it up, it can cause negative effect. So which means like we may not be achieving what we really want to achieve. So taking care of other duties, we are on this earth for taking care of many things. So I would say taking care of family or any other chores we do day to day, it can cause frustration, but at the same time we should think that yeah, we are here for a purpose and we are here to serve them or serve some cause. So if we look at it that way, I think it becomes easier. I know it's not always easy, as you mentioned, like doing meditation and not thinking of anything. It's not that easy. It comes only with practice. Even today, I have like trouble kind of switching off myself and concentrating on something or not concentrating on anything, right? So that takes a lot of practice. And if we have like all these attachments, I think it will be there with us. So over a period of time, when we practice and let go of things, I think that is when we kind of can achieve that, I would say. But yeah, to me, I'm not there yet, so I cannot say how it will be when we reach that point. But yeah, definitely, I think it is achievable, but it takes a lot of effort from us. But to that extent, I would say like yeah, we have to look in the positive direction and not cause anything, because like most of the things are man-made, so we put things on ourselves. So those are the things, if we can avoid, we should avoid. Yeah, that's it from me.
Thank you. Meera, you wanted to say, raise your hand. Yeah.
Yes. I just wanted to say that to Mary, that and everyone, that it's so interesting because Mary is one of my idol. She is in. Yeah, I did see her practice, her yoga practice, and it's amazing. So her body is so open, and I am so happy for you, but because you can just sit down, Mary. I had a war within me over 10 years, almost 12 years. And I had like, do you remember? Of course, you remember Master Rao, like in the Gita, when they have the war, that was going inside of me. I had so much garbage inside of me, and probably I still do. So you don't have that. Even when you sit down, you can just like kind of relax and accept things. It was very difficult for me, and I totally exhausted myself to give up things. It took me a long time, and your yoga practice is absolutely amazing, Mary. I don't even come close to it. That's all I wanted to say, Mr. Rao. If you would see her practice, you would be really, really impressed.
Yes. All right. Let's go to 118 then. I'll once again share the screen. Let's go to 118. All right, 118. Virama, please. Can you chant?
You're all ready?
Yes. I mean, I just follow you because I don't know these chants so well.
What? All right.
Okay.
Virama Pratyaya Abhyasa Purvaha Samskara Sheshaha Anyaha.
Excellent. So this is the next stage. I mean, this would perhaps partly answer the caution which Miral raised, saying that if we treat this bliss is so important, enjoying this bliss is so important, that itself can be a hurdle, is what she was articulating. It is a very valid one. This is the next state of experience. Virama Pratyaya Abhyasa Purva Samskara. What it means is the cessation of everything else. When it says everything else, it means the notion of even enjoying the bliss goes. They call it as a non-aware samadhi. It's an artificial word. What it means is the object which you've chosen for meditating, for example, like I said, an image or a mantra or a sound or watching a thought, everything vanishes. The notion of enjoying the bliss vanishes. The notion of, I would say, even the self-awareness, as we normally say, that is a special kind of self-awareness. Today, when we say we are self-aware, our self-awareness is driven by subject, object, and observation process. That kind of a process. In this 118 kind of self-awareness is not based on this subject, object, and observation process as a method. Like, for example, in olden days, we used to wear wristwatches, right? And nowadays, very few people wear wristwatches, right? You are aware that you have a wristwatch without really looking at it, without observing that. Because it gets embedded into our entire psyche, our own whoever is really is the end point, locus point of all the experiences in us, it gets embedded there. That kind of self-awareness is what it is called. For example, let me stop this sharing so that I can look at you and talk. See, for example,
They cannot say it, Mr. Rao. It's too small.
No, I removed it. I stopped sharing. Are you still seeing it?
I do not. I very little, just half of it.
No, that's fine. That's because it's on the screen. My idea is not, I'm not to show anything now. Okay, now, where are you? Miral is gone. Hello? Can you see her?
No, I don't see her.
Right, I think Miral has probably dropped off by accident. Let's wait for her to rejoin. We'll give her a minute. She's back. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Like, for example, this 1.8 is very, very important because on the one hand, it answers the objection or the caution which Miral raised. It's very, very important. This is where we need to be very cautious, and this is my view. I'll share it with you. For example, one of the techniques which people adopt, many gurus teach, particularly the meditation schools teach, is what is called guided meditation. Personally, I am not a great fan of guided meditation because if something else is guiding you, you are really trapped more into the subject-object experience mode. Therefore, you should never ever go for a guided meditation. It is helpful in the beginning, like we are having a third wheel in the bicycle in the beginning stages. But remember, it is the third wheel in a bicycle is detrimental in picking the skill of balancing the bicycle. Therefore, sooner you remove that, better. Therefore, that's what 118 talks about. You really get into a stage where you are not even aware of the bliss. The only thing is Um, I don't know how to explain that. I think I would now open the floor for all you people to share whether you experienced this. Only thing is, you are just self-aware. Is nothing else. Absolutely nothing else. No objects, no feeling, no thoughts, no bliss, no nothing. Just stillness. Absolute stillness. For example, Mary did talk about one particular instance in the log cabin where a mouse got onto her feet or something, and that state. Yeah. Yes. Sometimes we have two Marys now. Sometimes we are aware that there's a mouse on the leg. But the mouse which used to be in our head, which used to be in our mind, which used to dominate our emotions of creating a scare is gone. That mouse is gone. Just like a table, chair, fireplace is there, there's mouse. You just watch it without reacting anything. That is the state I'm talking about. The same way you feel about yourself, even your own existence, your own body, your own mind, your own intellect, your own thought, your own experience is exactly like that little mouse which was sitting on Mary's legs. You just watch. And right, that is what is called emptying the mind. We have built a notion in our head, right? For example, when you see a cockroach, many people go and kill it. Why? I don't understand why. Why do you have to kill it? It's a small little thing. Or spider, for example. Spider is supposedly, excepting some of those poisonous big African spiders, what we see in the houses are supposed to be your, what is it, ecology warrior or something. It is the one which creates a balance in nature.
And then crawl into the bed, Mr. Rao, next to me.
Isn't it? But still, we want to kill it. Why? Because there is a spider in your head. That spider is your enemy, which will eat you. Think of this. That spider is probably 1,000th of your size. Frankly, somebody even joked about it. He said, don't do anything because you don't understand. Spider is the one which is scared of you. Who is this giant? I can't even look at this person, so big. So he should be the person scared of you. And probably the spider is trying to run away from you. Right? In other words, in our head, we have all these objects which are very different from what they really are outside.
But Mr. Rao, we can put the spider in a bag and throw it, just let them go out the window, right?
Well, you can, nothing wrong with that. It's not I'm not saying that since you like to hug your customers, hug the spider also. I'm not saying that. What I'm
They are on the floor in my room.
What I'm trying to say is, yes, you and spider perhaps cannot have a very nice handshake and live comfortably, but you don't want to hurt it. So take it in a piece of paper, leave. That's perfectly fine. I'm not decrying that. But what is important is, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not talking about the spider on your bed. I'm talking about the spider on your head. That's what I'm talking about. The problem comes from the spider on the head. If you remove the spider on the head, the spider on the bed becomes friendly. You don't want to hurt a friend because by mistake you put your hand on it, it's done. Therefore, you take it a nice piece of paper and leave it outside. That is what is called emptying. 118 talks about it. You empty everything else. That means all notions you have in your head as some certain things are agreeable, certain things are not agreeable, certain things are good, certain things are bad, certain things are harmful. All these notions have to be emptied and take things as they are and watch them. That is a phenomenal state of meditation, which I'm very sure at least some portions of your some moments you would have experienced it, because that think of this. Think of the moment when you're not even born, when we are all in our mother's tummy. Think of that moment. All these objects outside in the world have no relationship with you. You have no idea they existed, because we discover as we are born, we discover all those things. Till that time, when in our tummies, our mother's tummies, we don't even know anything about it. That is our true status. That's where we started. Over a period of time, after you come out into this world, we start observing them, learning about them, opinions about them. We have been indoctrinated by others saying, oh, that's bad, this is ugly, kill the cockroach, kill the mice, it causes plague. Oh, it does cause plague, no doubt about it. Like for example, in the COVID time, a lot of arguments about, what do you do with the COVID? Why is the God, so unkind to give a COVID? From God's point of view, COVID virus and you are no different. Why should God play the favorite and vote only for human beings? The God principle is same for insects and bees and bacteria. Everything is same, right? Therefore, but then the caution is there. The COVID virus and you don't get along very well. That's the nature. There is a solution for it. Keep away. But we don't want to keep away. We want to invite the COVID virus and then blame God for it. In other words, this is how we create an artificial scare, artificial fear, artificial hatred, and get bogged down by that. So when we empty ourselves from all these ideas, that is the phenomenon. By the way, when you get there, when you get a taste of it, you don't have to sit in meditation after that. In fact, those of you, I think all of you are certified yoga teachers. I'm sure you've read Hatha Yoga Pradipika. It talks about what is called the Samadhi Mudra, where you are aware of everything going outside, but it doesn't affect even inside. You are completely still. That is the mental. Once you get that mental state, even a taste of it, even if you're not able to hold that mental state 24/7, even if you got a taste of it, you are insulated. You don't have to. I mean, I'm talking in extreme view. There are cautions given that, but to make a point, understand I'm saying, it's no longer necessary that you have to sit every day in the meditation for 1 or 2 hours per day. You no longer need to, because you live a different existence. That's what 1.8 is all about. Now I would request all the three of you to share your respective experiences. Mary first again.
We cannot hear you, Mary.
Well, she's trying to unmute.
Okay.
Yeah, we can.
Expressing our experiences of the last sutra, I got cut off, so I missed something, I'm sure, but let me think. Well, based on what you said just now, I mean, I have experienced when I'm not afraid of something, like the mouse, but other things too, like even a cockroach or whatever, because of my state of mind, the state that I happen to be in at that moment. And it's just, the thing is that how can I be so, I see that I'm so, everything I do is automatic. It's not that I have an intention or anything. It's happening. It happens before I think about it. It's almost like I'm a robot or something that I'm programmed to do. But then there's nothing behind it. There's no intelligence or something greater behind it, where there's this sense that there ought to be some kind of presence there, some kind of knowing and being there. It's doing it with intention and attention. So that's the head knows that, and I feel the truth of that and the wish for that, like especially when, like, in this setting and conversation with like-minded people, but in the throes of life. And like, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, Like
Manjula.
Manjuna?
Manjula? Yeah.
Manjuna said, I absolutely agree that, you know, when I'm taking care of my most of my life is still spent, like now, even the ones in college, I'm helping them with their homework. They want me to send them something. I'm always doing things for the children or my husband. So it's okay that that's what I have to do, but how do I do it? And who's here? Like who's, you know, that for me is the, what's important, and that that I would want to just examine and see what, because there could be joy in anything, just sitting quietly or just anything. It doesn't have to be a big party or something that makes you happy, because what is happiness? I also want to know, I mean, you touched upon this before too, that do we not come, I know that Indian belief is there that we've had many previous lives, but do we not come as babies with completely clean slates, completely clean?
Okay.
And that, let's say, a Maharaj or a guru, or not Maharaj, but a very, very sort of, you know, advanced yogi was raising the baby. Would that baby not have, you know, would have an opportunity for a higher being?
Let me, that's a very good point. Let me answer that. This clean slate is called tabula rasa in Greek philosophy. That is a Western notion that everybody is born with a clean slate and things are written. In Indian philosophical context, that's not true. It's never true. They don't agree with that idea, because they notice that two things they notice. If you have multiple children, you give the same environment, but all of them don't do the same thing. Unless you yourself radically change your internal belief system, you tend to give the same belief system to all the children, but all of them don't adopt it. There have been instances, for example, they tell there is something called Purana in India, old story. It is rough translations. It means old story. There is a specific story for that. For example, they talk about a king who was so egoistic. He thinks he is superior even to God. Not only he thinks superior to God, he is, done all kind of austerities, tapas, etc. to gain powers, to directly fight with God, Vishnu, directly take a sword and fight. That much power is obtained. And therefore, he's put a rule to all his subjects that henceforth, nobody will worship that God Vishnu, everybody will worship only me. That is the standard rule. He changed syllabus in all schools. He threatened all teachers of all schools that if you say even one word about that Vishnu God, I'll kill you. So everything has changed. Years together it's changed. Then he gets a child. His child, obviously, in his household, he would try to do the same thing. But his child rebels against him, says, no, you are a human being. You cannot be God. And he is God. And he threatens his child as it grows. He tries to kill the child multiple times. And the child says, you know what? You can kill me if you want. I'm not going to agree with you. That becomes a big puzzle. The story goes on like that. So the Indian notion is, we notice that the parents give the same value system, all children do not adopt it. Therefore, it cannot be an empty slate. And likewise, children are born who follow a value system which is exactly opposite to what parents believe. So to explain all those things, they have logically concluded it cannot be a blank slate. It has to be born with certain basic innate tendencies. Then the question is, it was born only 1 second back. From where did it pick up? Then we have to logically conclude it has got from previous birth. There should have been previous births. From that notion, it talks like that. There is no tabula rasa is a Western concept which Indian philosophy rejects completely. There is no tabula rasa. There's a Greek concept. All right. Okay, Mirel, your time.
So relating to this Sutra, the 18, right?
Yes.
I would say yes. I experienced through my own practice, whatever little I had, that I'm forming habits, and even with the practice, with the breathing all the time up, and even in my sleep, constantly years throughout the years. And in one hand, it was practical for a while because it made my breathing capacity much bigger. But after a while, when I start to look for this and also looking inside all the time what's happening, it's just it just makes habits. And as I told you, like looking for the sensations in the body and different kind of, you play around with it. And if it's not there, then, oh, why is it not there? So I made up my mind that if other people could do it, high level practitioners, why can't I? So I just dropped one day to the other everything. And I said, I don't look for all of these special things inside of me, and I'm not going to breathe up any longer because it's exhausting. It was exhausting actually, all the time to do it. So, and I told you that when I was practicing years ago with Korean people, they always warn that not to make habits. So I started to, I recognize that my, I don't use my left hand so well. So I started to eat rice, picking up one rice piece with my left hand. And in a subway, I used to sit next to the homeless person because everyone was just getting up. So I just, because, it's very smelly. So I said, okay, I just have to be able to take it and just sit here. So I try to, with these little things, to kind of break my habits. I don't know how much I could let go or not. I still have a lot more. I have a lot more habits. I have a lot of habits still.
Yep. Thank you. Manjula?
Yeah. To Miral's point and your point earlier regarding meditation, I totally agree. You don't have to sit for meditation hours together. Initially, definitely, we need practice. So I would say, yeah, follow a routine and follow a certain pattern in whatever we are doing. Then once our bodies or mind is habituated, I think we do it automatically, whether it's meditation or breathing or anything. Recently, someone pointed out to me and said, "Oh, your regular breathing itself is like deep breathing." I said, "Yeah, with practice, I have been doing that for so many years and it has become natural." Like I said, I don't sit for, I mean, though I do meditation few minutes, it's not like I'm sitting there for hours doing the meditation or breathing exercises or yogasanas. It naturally happens. Now and then I just fit into my schedule where whenever I get even 10 minutes, I try to do something that is related to this. And that's how I've been able to continue and kind of fit into my busy schedule, I would say.
Okay, excellent. So, should we stop for today or do we have some more time?
We can go on until 7 o'clock.
Okay, are you okay, Mary?
Yeah, I will. They already started eating dinner, so it's
So-
okay.
We can stop. I not have an issue. If you want me to stop it. Okay.
Oh, we'll do it because
Okay.
they're doing their own thing now. So
Okay. 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 So let me go share again and take to the next one.
Chanting?
Yeah. 119.
Mary, the main chanter.
together.
Okay, I follow you. I just follow you.
No, we do it together. Ready?
Okay, yeah.
Vishesha, 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 Linga, Matra Lingani,
Which one
Guna.
is that?
No, 119. No, 119.
This is 119.
Oh my goodness! No wonder the book was. No wonder I was wondering why you weren't talking about the gunas. Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, let's do it. Ready?
119.
Yeah.
Bhava.
Bhava pratyayo vide prakritilayan.
Manam.
And you do 120 also. Let's do it together.
Okay.
Right.
Vidya
Right.
smriti samadhi prajna purvaka itare.
Yes. Itaresham.
Excellent. So these kinds of answers, I would say 119, 120 together, kind of answers Mary's question about empty slate. Because of clear acceptance in Indian thought process that things happen in multiple births, this is a continuation of that concept. In 119, what happens if we have not achieved that Samadhi state, 118 Samadhi, where we talked about emptying our mind of all notions and no residue kind of experience? What happens? The answer is bhava pratyayo videha prakriti layanam, which means once the body is gone, that is, the body is dead, if we have not reached that state of consciousness, which in meditation is talked about 1.18, that is emptying ourselves of all notions, if you have not got that state, there would be a residual latent tendencies, vasanas they talked about, which will travel along with the jiva, the entity which occupies the body is called jiva. And when that jiva occupies the next body in a mother's womb, these tendencies, these impressions go along. That means as long as these latent tendencies are there, we are destined to be reborn to continue where we left and continue the exercise, this attempt to get to that state. Then, how do we do that? And what do we do that when we are born again and again? With faith, shraddha. Virya means intensity. Shraddha is dedication. For example, all of you are so dedicated. You talk about 20 years, 30 years, entire life. You look at all the words which you are using. These are the words you are using. That is the shraddha. On all of us have different types of, or what should we say, family life. We have subject to different pressures. Still, we are not going to leave this. That is called shraddha. Then virya. Virya is intensity. You meditate for 5 minutes. You want to meditate for 100 minutes. You want for 1 hour. You want to do it daily. You want to throw in all the free time. For example, Mary used the statement that you don't need to go and throw a party to enjoy. That means you're prioritizing your life. You have a million options possible, how you spend your time. You're prioritizing. And in that prioritization schema, you are allocating a lot more importance and time and effort for this activity, the spiritual activity, the yoga activity. That is called the virya, the intensity. And the smriti, you are pulled by memory. Very, very important. Memory is very important because in as much as Merrill's caution that we should not be trapped by this, we should not be enamored by this, so it becomes a hurdle for it. In as much all that is true, that memory acts as a trigger point for you. Yeah, I had a great meditation. I had that great experience. That means that's doable. See, the point is human beings act on the basis of quest. if you don't have a quest, if you don't have a specific goal, you don't act. That is the way human mind is designed, human faculty is designed. The trick is use this nature of human being to go after things as an advantage rather than treat as a disadvantage. Set objectives which are helpful rather than set objectives which are either unhelpful or which is meaningless. Yeah. Going to a movie is a simple, like rightly said, just to pass time. You get nothing out of it other than the momentary thing, enjoyment. You get nothing out of it. But if you do exercise, it's a good thing because it builds your body. If you do yoga, it builds your immune system. If you do meditation, it makes your mind better. Therefore, use the nature of human beings that it will act only on the basis of specific objectives to your advantage. But how do you know there's an advantage? One is to believe somebody, definitely, oh, because oh, my friend does it, therefore I'll also do it. But that'll always, that becomes a fad, as they call here. Your friends do it, you do it, suddenly they don't do it, you'll stop doing it. But on the other hand, if you have your own experience, and in that experience triggers a memory, memory becomes very, in fact, in some philosophical systems in India, memory is taken as a sixth sense. We all know we have got five senses, right? Eyes, ears, touch, and all the mind, we say that. Memory is treated as another sense because it can be a powerful motivator for you. And you use all these things for what? Your Shraddha, your Virya, your Smriti, that is your dedication, your intensity, your recollection. Used for what? To attain Samadhi state. In other words, people will always be born again and again and again. Some people will use the memory and the past tendencies to increase their dedication, increase their intensity, and attain this Samadhi Anubhava. Whereas others would not do it and they'll be just be born again and again. But everybody gets there. Somebody gets sooner than later. That's the assurance which gives. After saying that Chitta Vritti is the objective, reducing the mental modifications, eliminating the mental modifications is the objective. Objective, and what is the end result? The end result is you will get a taste of your true nature, which is nothing but bliss. How do you get that? Through a Samadhi Anubhava. What is Samadhi Anubhava? In the beginning, you are aware of certain things and certain things alone. And in the end, you are aware of only yourself and nothing else. And if you achieve this state, what happens? If you're able to sustain this state 24/7, that means you are burning all your tendencies and it's end of story. But if you have not achieved it, what happens? You're born again. Luckily, nothing is lost. You start where you left in the previous incarnation. That is where it becomes very positive. In an empty slate concept, what happens is, if everything is going to empty slate, whatever gains you achieved in a particular birth just vanishes. Because you're born with an empty slate. Does it mean you have to start all over again? Then it leads to a lot of logical questions. If you have to start all over again, what's the purpose of doing it again? Because again, you may be born again with a clean slate. Then you are positioning a God concept as one which is kind, always present, everybody's present for everybody, anytime, gives opportunity for your evolution, goes. The whole assumption falls apart. Because effort should never get wasted. You should, why? We know very well. You do something, you learn something, and then take a gap in life, 4 years, 5 years. And you go back to the music, be it exercise, be it software programming. You don't forget everything. Very quickly, you remember everything, and you start where you left. In other words, our own life teaches us, convinces us, proves the point that any skills achieved do not go away even if you take a break. You can start where you left and continue. Extending this concept, this model, to subsequent birth seems more logical than assuming an empty state concept. That's what 1.19, 1.20 assure us. So that is the positive assurance. So we will stop for this 1.20. I request you to to practice 1.20 to 1.30. So in the chanting, because you like to chant, you would have noticed the background today. I want to explain the background. You see my background? What's your background? That is called Kedarnath Temple. There's a place in Himalayas called Kedarnath. It's high up in the mountain, about almost 3,500, 3,600 meters above sea level. It's a very cold place, snowy place. It's open only during the summer months. November they shut it down because too much snow there. That Kedarnath temple is where Lord Shiva is, a Shiva temple. I promised you that every time I'll bring some place from India to showcase to you. It's a place where probably one of the northernmost reaches in the Himalayas, and after that is only snow everywhere. And the Shiva temple, a lot of things happen there. And in case you ever, are you guys there? Oh, who changed it? Mira, did you change it?
You're sitting in the temple
Oh,
by the steps.
okay, you're taking us to Kedarnath? Okay, all right, thank you.
For some reason, I don't see Paddy at all.
Ah,
So I was kind of changing the mode, I guess. I don't know.
you did.
He's sitting right next to you.
He is.
Exactly. I'm sitting.
Okay, now I see.
Surrounded by the pine trees. My favorite.
Now I think Miral is not there, right? I
Yeah,
don't see.
she's up top.
Oh, she's very much there. I see all of you.
Is there? Okay. For some reason, maybe some setting I need to kind of change the setting.
So what you see is that Kedarnath temple. In the winter months, it's so much snow there, and they shut down the temple virtually, and only some yogis continue to live there. I have seen some photographs as well as even videos. The Indian army, obviously, for protecting the border, they are in higher reach of the mountains, and I have seen the soldiers going up to the yogis, trying to give them some food and water, etc. They sit in deep snow and keep meditating. It's a very, very nice. I have not been there myself, but it's probably worth, if you ever go to India, try to go there in Kedarnath. All right. Now I give all of you to give some kind of the room table, a couple of minutes to say whatever you want to say about today's session, and then next session we'll take 1.20 to 1.30. Try to practice this chanting, whichever I don't mind, whichever model you like. Please, you in your yoga schools, you may be having a way of chanting. Use that. That's fine, because what's important is what does the sutra say, and how does it relate to our respective experience, and what can we do? That's what's important. Yeah. Yeah, Mary, you can say your concluding remarks.
Yeah, my big takeaway for today was the living, coming back until you have completed the journey. And so the question that now, I mean, the question is, so do you remember? Do you remember your past life? Can you remember? Do you need to? And then the other question is, so what is it all for in the end? I mean, why even come? Why even have human bodies? Why have houses? Why did we build all, those questions always loom large, but it just brings me back to them, is why go through all this?
Excellent. So I would request you to raise these questions next time. I will answer it. There is one logical answer given. Whether it's acceptable to you or not, I will share the answer. There is This is a very, very important question which needs to be answered.
Yeah.
Mira?
For me, I'm a little bit confused because since I had this internal war for many years, I recognize that I don't remember a lot of things what happened in my life. I just forgot, or it doesn't come up to my surface. So maybe this is a problem, or maybe I'm just getting older and getting some kind of a weak mind. I don't know, but I just don't remember barely anything of my, like these little details. And I remembered something. I had a very beautiful childhood, I know, because my grandparents, my parents, they have to work. Of course, they love me a lot, but my grandparents absolutely adored me. And they used to take me down to the countryside. And there was a time when I was thinking back on that countryside, those days where every day I woke up and I had the feeling like, what kind of miracle is going to happen today? Everything was just so wondrous. And then I recognized that even if I would go back now over there, I would be by myself. I just have my elderly mother as my relative, so as my parent alive. So I would be there by myself, and it wouldn't be the same. It's just in the past. But other things I just simply don't remember, and I think I'm based on this Sutra 20. I might be in trouble because of the Smriti is missing for me. I'm sorry.
Good, yeah, good point. We will answer the next time. Yeah, it's not a problem really. Yeah, yeah. Manjula.
Yeah, for me, yeah, memory and going back to childhood, yeah, I do remember things that I always talk about. But talking about like rebirth or coming back to life again in whatever form, that I can, though I have heard a lot about it, I cannot talk about it because I don't know what I was in the previous birth or what I will be in the future.
Yeah.
That is something like we have to kind of just digest the fact, okay, at least this birth we are here and doing whatever we can do, um, all possible positive things in our lives.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and regarding chanting, I'm not sure if you are following some book or some form of documentation. I don't know where to get it from. If you can send me that.
yeah, I think Mirel has suggested something, so she can separate everybody who can
Okay.
follow the chanting method. Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I will just say this much. I mean, this requires a detailed conversation, which I said I will do next time. When we say memory, that memory is not about remembering the activities or instances which happened in your life. That's not what it is. It is about tendencies, vasanas. Now, you don't have to remember. The beauty, the power of tendency is that you don't have to remember because it is there, it will push you. It is the one which is going to start you when you start waking up, or when you're 3, 4 years old, when you start behaving kind of independently. That's the one which is propel you towards that. And so it's not to be. I mean, I'm saying this so that you don't worry next 2 weeks saying, "What do you mean? I'm not able to recall." So what's the problem? Nothing is a problem. It is not necessary to remember each and everything. It is just that a notion that memory acts as a trigger, whether you want it or not, because all past tendencies go along with that memory. That's what it's all about. And another thing is the argument that you must have existed before, you've taken many births before, and you will take many births later, is a logical argument given to explain things. The most important point to note is you at this time, as Meral, as Mary, as Manjula, as Paddy, don't have to remember what you were before you were born. Nor do you need to know what you will be in the next round. Not necessary. Then why do we even talk about it? For two reasons. One is to logically explain certain things. and more importantly, to give you hope. Don't worry. Whatever things, progress you've made, even if it is not a perfection, nothing is lost. Very important, because many people get confused saying that if I cannot achieve it in this life, what is the way you should even try this? Even all the effort goes waste. So when we talk about it next time, I will probably make a small departure and quote from Bhagavad Gita. Meral, we have gone through this in the last round when we discussed Bhagavad Gita. I will quote from there, where Krishna the God assures that don't worry, even if you make one small inch of progress in this life, that's great progress. It comes with you when the next time around. Nothing goes waste. That's very, very important. Yes, Mary.
I just want to say really quickly that I was thinking about that too, and I was thinking, it doesn't even, I'm not even, like, I don't know what it means to come back or not to come back or that. I'm in this study because something is compelling me. I need to do this for something. I'm not thinking about, actually coming back in another form or whatever. So that's interesting for me because I'm not doing it in order to not come back or to come back. I'm in this because it's a magnet. It's drawing me.
Exactly. In fact, if you remember, I keep saying that you're here. I would slightly shift, probably is what you meant, but I will be articulative about it. It's not a magnet that, this session is not a magnet which is drawing you. It's the other way around. Your tendencies, your past actions drive you to here. You had 10 different choices what you would do on Sunday evening between 5:30 and 7. Why do you choose this? Because you are the one choosing. There's no compulsion. If you don't come, I'm not going to do anything, right? There's nothing. Therefore, you make a voluntary choice. You make a voluntary choice because the tendencies are there. The tendencies are there because of past actions. That is why logically they build up saying that you do things as a result of tendencies, vasanas, which are nothing but consequences of past actions, repetitive actions. Like we say, what you think is what you do, and what you do is what you think. That's the way it is explained. All right then. Yes, Miriam.
A last thought. I'm so sorry to hold you up. I would like to say something about that spider matter.
Okay.
Mr. Rao, when people, they got to a point when they feel for the spiders, and then they feel for everything, like they don't want to hurt another being. I think that's a very painful experience. When I was a child, I got so much, maybe because my parents also love me, but my grandparents, and I spend a lot of time with them. They really, with their heart, love me, and I love them back the same way. And I don't know, probably because of this love, if there are some poor people and very old people, who used to bring like ice, we didn't have refrigerator in those days, ice and things like that. I could see through these people, and I knew it exactly that the children were hurting them. I could see through them. I knew it exactly how sad they were and how difficult their life was and how much someone hurt them. So of course this feeling went away from me. I don't feel that way, any longer. But I just can well imagine that when someone gets to a point that they really feel for the spider and really feel for all the beings, in some ways it can hurt the heart, because the person can feel the other person's pain. And I think that can be very, very difficult. So right now, I'm very happy that I don't feel for the spiders.
Good.
Not yet.
All right then. So thank you all. We will see you again in the next session. Thank you. Namaste.
Yeah, good session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for joining. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.